All right, Barb,
Hey.
Here we are. We're on our way to Ann Bud's Knit for Fun retreat in Freeport, Maine.
Right.
Barb's driving our beautiful rental car because we decided that we would drive from Montreal to Freeport, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So just a small detour today. We went from the Montreal airport and stopped in Sutton. We're on our way to Sutton.
That's right, yeah, to see our friend Lucinda at Mont Tricot.
Yeah.
And to spend a night in a beautiful bed and breakfast.
That's right. Tell everybody about the trip that we had from the airport.
Oh man, traffic. You're like getting out of Montreal is crazy, absolutely crazy. There's construction everywhere.
And we had a GPS that wasn't updated.
Yeah, the car came with a navigation system, but obviously the navigation system was missing an updated map because we drove in circles for probably an hour.
2 hours.
But we're on our way now, and it's beautiful countryside here. I'm going to flip the camera around so we can show everybody what it looks like here in between Montreal and Sutton, Quebec. Here we go. Sutton's only 15 kilometers down the road.
But it's starting to turn green.
It is.
Follow Route 104 for
Look at
3
all these
kilometers.
farmhouses.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's very beautiful.
Kind of reminds you of home, doesn't it?
Well, a little bit. We don't have those mountains in the background, though.
We don't, that's true. This is just a lovely drive, though. I'm really glad we came this way.
Yeah.
How was your local yard shop day?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good.
Yeah.
We had a little less people than last year, but the weather was really bad. You know, like it was snow that morning in Edmonton. We had rain and like there's flooding in some places in Quebec. So some people, I mean, they're not necessarily affected, but traveling from further away and the roads are bad. I mean, it was great. Like, we've no complaints. And quite honestly, we were tired going into it because we had gone to get stuff from Julie's on Thursday night. So we really had a good day, you know? Like, it was better than a regular good weekend, so. Trudy. Julie.
Oh, from Julie.
Yeah.
Sorry, they said Julie.
But no, it was good. We had a lot. I don't think we could have taken more people. Like it was.
I went to Comic-Con to Calgary. I had planned to go there for a long time, and so Barb managed local yarn shop day by herself, and you had over 100 client customers.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really, really good.
And you know, it's funny because all the people who worked with me that day don't normally work Saturday.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
So you had all wow.
We had all the weekday staff there.
Were they in shock a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
I think that was hard because you know, like the space is small, and so we had the whole downstairs set up like a Julie Slim boutique shop.
Ah, yes.
So we were dealing with both floors, and like we had friends, like the one I showed you, the big pink shawl. So that's another Lucinda. So she was there, like kind of just to be around. But people tended to come in waves, and like people came from Quebec City, like people came from far, and so it's great because they wanted. And you're happy to see them, but you're like trying to triage everybody kind of at the same time. But then everybody left and went for lunch, and so we got like a little, you know, like
A little lull.
yeah.
So earlier, you were telling us that your dad, that you were actually born
I was born in New Orleans.
in New Orleans. I thought you said you
My
were
dad's
born
from Spain. My dad was born in Spain.
Okay, but you have this memory of sheep.
When we'd go visit in the summers, you know.
Okay. And what part of Spain is he from again?
It's called Salamanca.
Okay.
It's like a UNESCO heritage site, like the whole city.
Wow.
It's really pretty, but there's a lot of, we'd always go to the countryside.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing sheep. Yeah. They were probably all merino.
Yeah. So you speak Spanish in addition to French and English. So did your dad speak Spanish to you at home?
We spoke Spanish till we went to school.
Okay.
And then when I was like, I don't know, like 9 or 10.
Wow, so you went to a Spanish school?
No, until I went to school. In English, yes. And when I was like around, I don't know, 8 or 9, the teachers told me, this is, I was born in 72, so like late 70s, early 80s. They told my dad, you're going to confuse her speaking to her in Spanish. And he had a heavy accent in English. He goes, I'm going to confuse her more if I speak in English. So,
your dad has a good sense of humor.
and when we later, like you rebel. So we told my mom we didn't want to speak Spanish anymore. She said, that's fine. I'm not sure how you're going to talk to your grandmother. So that was that. So we kept speaking Spanish.
So both your parents then were Spanish?
My mom's from Guatemala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did they meet?
In New Orleans.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So did your grandmother come as well, or did you visit?
No, we would go visit.
So you're
my grandmother from Guatemala would go to New Orleans and spend. It was much closer, and we'd go spend a lot of time together. Like, or she would spend. But I was just there in February to see family
in New Orleans.
No, actually in Guatemala.
Ah.
And I actually took, trying to see if I can find, I took a lot of photos of the traditional textiles and stuff.
Oh.
And then I did like this is one of the tops. Then I did, I did a talk on the textiles.
Oh, nice.
Like about the weavings, and so it was really cool. I'll probably do it again in the summer, like on the bricks outside.
Yeah.
So
the talk that you have is online somewhere?
Not yet, no.
Oh, okay.
But somebody told me to put it online.
Yeah.
So, and this is...
Lucinda would probably give that talk if we run one to the store.
Probably, yeah. You want to come out to the store? Oh! Yeah.
So, I'll show you in a minute.
You're going to have to send me some of these pictures so I can put them into the video.
So,
wow.
You guys can you can flip through these, Barb.
They're just beautiful,
you can flip through.
colorful pictures
So
of
you know,
weaving people.
Yeah. And so what's curious is, and they do it by memory, the weaving. And I had the one in the first picture. She was super nice. Like, I fell in love with her, and she told me all about the symbolism of. And she let me videotape her. And I just crazy winter haven't had a chance to subtitle the video.
Oh,
because it's in Spanish.
So
this decreases, and
here we are.
Hi.
Back at the bed and breakfast.
Yes.
What's the name of this house? Do you remember?
Oh, douceur matinale. So douceur meaning sweetness, and matinale meaning morning. So morning sweetness.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Nice.
And
this was a recommendation
from Lucinda. Yeah. The house is beautiful, and it's I love there's wood floors. It looks very old.
Lots of antiques. It's
the
very,
stairs
very nice.
creak when you go upstairs.
Yeah, I know they've done some renos, but they've also tried to keep it a bit
very historic.
It's really beautiful.
Very nice.
So we are comfortably ensconced.
Yeah, and we're just doing some knitting.
We're doing some knitting, and we're talking about knitting, and Lucinda has this beautiful yarn that she's been showing us.
Yes.
And
Can you tell us a little bit about this?
So yarn? So it's a company called Delana, and it's kind of an abbreviation, but Delana, when you say it out loud, actually means of wool.
Oh, of wool.
Okay.
So and it's
in French.
No, in Spanish.
In Spanish.
Because this
French
yarn.
and Spanish are kind of the same, though, right?
Yes, and actually, if you had that, it would be the same in French. So, but it would be Delaine, like
Delaine
magazine.
Yeah.
But so this is a company out of Spain. They have authentic and merino wool from which is originally from Spain. So we learn something new every day. But they have the rustic yarn, which that's what you're looking at, Barb. And it kind of, it's a center pull, and it's really a lot of fun. I think I have already center pulled it and kind of wrapped.
Okay.
Or this one didn't, but I had another one that did, and
yeah.
It's seen better days because I've been showing it around a lot.
Yeah.
But
This
it's
is so
100%
cool.
merino. It's rustic, so it's air and weight. So it'd be great for like cabling. It'd be great. This one hasn't been treated or combed too much, so you will see some little vegetable matter, a little bit of hay.
Yeah.
But it knits up really soft because it is 100% merino and it's not treated. This one here has been combed and cleaned out a little bit more, and that's the one that I'm using for my Koivua sweater. And so far I've got 3 different tones. I've got the middle gray, the white, and the brown, and these are all natural colors. So you have actually only the 2 colors of the sheep, and then they blend them to get the different shadings of it.
Right.
So
Wow, this is so soft. You haven't blocked this yet, have you?
No,
Oh,
but
wow.
I do have a swatch, and this is it
Oh, right.
swatch blocked. This, because of the color work, it's much thicker, so it probably feels a little bit more like the Aran Way one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't wait to get it washed up and actually finished and wearing it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be too hot when that's
So in this watch, Lucinda, did you do it in 2 different needle sizes?
I do. I usually, and I'll show that.
Yeah.
I usually do a line of garter.
Yeah.
And I usually, like, I have a couple of knots here, so
yeah.
I know that I did size 4. I have 4 knots here, and I have I have 5 knots here. So because it's Aran weight, I can tell you I did 4.5 because you can't do half a knot. And I did 5 here for a 5 millimeter, so you can tell the bottom one is 5.
Yeah, yeah.
And here you've got 4 on the bottom one.
Yeah.
This is one place where, for swatching, where I think the Americans have it on us because their numbering
Yeah.
system has no half points in it. So you can do the same
True.
thing, right? And you
Yeah.
have to yeah. But here we just have to remember a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could note it down,
You could.
which I probably
You
did
could.
somewhere because it felt good. But
yeah. This feels amazing.
It
So
does.
how did you find this
So
company?
they approached me. I'm not really sure. I should ask them how they found me. Probably Instagram. And it turns out that they're from the yarn. Most of the yarn comes from the province of Castilla y León, which in turn turns out to be the area where my dad was from. So growing up, going to spend summers in Spain and seeing sheep in the fields, not realizing that they were merino, or because I didn't really care at the time. But it's actually a really beautiful, sturdy, wonderful, soft. So I know when I was contacted by them and I fell in love with this this presentation, I just thought it was like a cigar. Or, I don't know. It just seemed really cool. They were like, but it's rustic. And they really warned me, and I'm like, but I've knit with other rustic yarns. How bad can it be?
Right.
And it's actually unlike anything I've seen, just because it's so soft.
Right.
Yeah. And you
The
know,
texture too.
there's something about finding a little bit of hay in your yarn, isn't there?
Right.
I mean, how natural is that?
I think it's
That's-
amazing.
That's
It's-
truly from
Right.
sheep to shawl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it hasn't been over processed.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
sometimes
And that's, you get that feel of it when you are knitting with it. And like, I don't have the skein of it anymore because we knit it, and I'll be getting some soon. But this one's in one that's a really nice merino. That's this. It's more of a smaller batch merino, and it just feels so soft and cushy, and
Right.
it's like a hug almost. Like
yes.
This
it's
is really
Yes.
if it's been processed too much, it's like they process the hug out of it.
Yeah.
But
And whose pattern was this one? Lucinda?
this one's Thalia by Andrea Mori. We really liked, my friend and I, my friend who helped me knit it, that there was some lace and there's texture. So in a way to show off the pattern,
Yeah.
we thought it would be really good.
And that's really cute, the edging that you've done around here. With
Thank you. Yeah, we used a Barocco Quechua for a little contrast.
Right. And alpaca?
I think it's a mix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you were saying that this yarn is all in natural colors.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It can get dyed, but I think it loses a little bit. The colors are pretty, but it loses a little bit of its authenticity.
Right. And it's superwash or not superwash?
Not superwash.
Okay.
So they're not treated superwash.
Yeah.
So they're I'm sure great for felting. I don't want to felt my sweater, so I haven't tried it. But
well, Lucinda's going to let us know when she gets this yarn in, and we're going to ship a little to Edmonton. So anybody at home who wants to try this, we'll let you know as soon as
we're
it comes.
hoping they'll ship out maybe sometime next week or the week after, and we'll get it kind of by the end of May. I know Julie Esseling's doing a knitting in the field, so we thought it would be a great place to launch it. If you're knitting in the fields, they'll have cows, but not sheep. So we thought it was pretty close.
Yeah. So what is knitting in the fields? Is that what kind of event is that?
Julie found many years ago that she worked by herself and she didn't get a chance to meet a lot of the knitters. So she created an event where knitters could come meet her. And she's also invited other vendors. Like I know we'll be there vending her yarn, Spin Cycle, Art Yarns, De Lana. But that also, she invites other indie dyers so that people can get to know them. And so she just gets to be a butterfly at a party and gets to be very social and meet with other people. We're the ones that'll vend her yarn at that event. Okay. But it's not about vending. It's not about buying yarn. It's really, people bring their camping chairs. People knit. Chilita gets rolled in a lot of hay and is dirty after.
Chilita is Lucinda's dog. Yeah.
The shop dog. When you get her out of the shop, she gets to be a dirty beast. But so it's really a time for people to connect. Designers go to that, socialize. I think it's Birch Hollow Fibers from the U.S. is coming this year. We have a bunch of knitting bags that are coming, so it's really just a great event, and you don't have to buy anything. You just have to bring your knitting and be a knitter, or want to be a knitter, and want to get inspired. So I think it's a great event that she puts on, so that she can connect.
And is it at her place?
No, it's in a place called in Compton, which is a small town in Quebec, and they have a cheese. They make cheese, so that's why you have the cows in the fields. So it's actually in a barn.
Cool.
So we vend in a barn and we look at the cows from afar, and we grill cheese. It's like the best grilled cheeses ever.
Well, we've been eating a little bit too much cheese.
Oh man, I'm so full. I've got so much poutine in my body.
Poutine twice. That's But we'll start the diet on Monday. Right?
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
That's gorgeous. I love your sweater.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope to have it done soon.
Yeah.
And it's Koivoa, if you didn't recognize it from
tell us a little bit about this. You're having a knit along, right?
So, I'm good friends with Mary Green, and we got to know each other from her 4-day knit along last year.
Right.
And she came out with a book, so very popular book. We carry it. It's a lot of fun. One of the things I like and what kind of drew me to her was the wearability of her designs.
Right.
And the fact that they fit really nice. Like, I know it's fun to have some oversized sweaters, but hers really fit nicely on the shoulders. And this year she's going to be doing a 4-day knit along as well. It starts July 4th, and hopefully all your guys can participate.
Yeah.
There's no reveal until May 23rd, so we have to stay put. We know it's worsted weight. I know, and I gave Barb and Cynthia the insider scoop, but I really feel like it's a fun activity. We had a lot of fun last year. It starts on the American July 4th, so we're going to have cupcakes this year.
So it's 4 days to knit a sweater?
It's within 2 weeks. You pick 4 days. Depending on the size you make, you can get some extra days. So if you're a little bit heavier and you need to knit a few more rows or a few more stitches, you get extra days.
Throw me some slack.
But it's not. The reality is, it's not about the how fast you knit. Just about having fun with other people.
Hello, ladies.
So
I don't want to contaminate nobody.
that's fine. Come Jill. Come for 2 seconds. For 2 seconds. It's okay.
That's good.
Where's the pooch? Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. So there you go.
Nice. Great. Or you should take a picture of Lucinda's honey sweater too.
I got it on video. This was made out of what, Lucinda?
Loft.
Right.
Hayloft.
Hayloft?
That's the color. That's the color.
Oh, okay. And it's like a beehive pattern, right?
It's called Honeycomb by Andrea Mori.
Right.
We're slightly addicted to her patterns.
Thanks so much for visiting with us, Lucinda. All right.
I'm so glad you guys
So we'll see you when you come to Edmonton next,
Sounds
right?
great. Yeah. Or Probably TNNA before that.
Yeah, we'll see you at TNNA.
So, everybody, I got an opportunity to spend 15 minutes with Ann Budd at the Knit for Fun retreat in Freeport, Maine, where Barb and I are enjoying ourselves on a knit retreat vacation, which is just so amazing because we never get out of the store.
The both of you get out together,
right?
Which is even more
It's so
remarkable.
nice. So nice, yeah.
Yeah.
So Anne organizes these amazing retreats and brings in amazing instructors to spend a weekend with totally amazing people. And you offer this service for participants in which they can come and spend 15 minutes with you.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
With the knit doctor.
With the knit doctor.
Oh, this is the knit clinic, and I would be Dr. Ann.
Aw, that's so fun. Yeah. So how did you come up with the idea of doing a knit doctor?
Well, twofold. One is actually my event coordinator, Cindy, who you've met.
Yes.
Suggested that might be a better use of my time because I get so exhausted after teaching
Yes.
and then being up at night and doing
Yes.
the entertainment and everything.
Yeah.
And I really love the one-on-one.
Yeah.
And it's just fun for me to see such a variety of people's problems. The first time I did it, not that many people signed up, but it's getting more and more popular now to where people come and I don't know, it's a big charge for me because it's something that seems really simple to me to fix and people are like, oh my gosh, you just changed my life, you corrected this.
People get really anxious about mistakes or about
Right, and ripping out, and sometimes people will come, they don't know where they are in a pattern, and then sometimes it's just they've done something really bizarre, and they think they have to rip out the whole thing, but really it's one row to, get it back.
Yes.
And I teach people, I take measurements, help them pick sizes. My most favorite thing to do is take them to the marketplace and help them buy yarn.
Go shopping.
Yes.
So what is it about going shopping that you find so much fun?
Well, there's excitement of the yarn and picking out the pattern, and they get excited. I mean, we all do, but I can't knit that many sweaters myself. But it's really fun.
Yes.
To help someone else pick the right yarn.
Yes.
And
do you have, like, you personally, Amber, do you have like a favorite gauge of yarn that you like?
I like finer yarn.
Do you?
Yep.
Yeah.
My happiest needle size, I think, is maybe a 4.
A US 4?
A US 4. So
Okay.
what's that? A 3.75
millimeter? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anything over, an US 8 is what, a 6 millimeter?
US 8 is a 5 millimeter.
5 millimeter. Yeah, that's about as big as I want to go.
You're not,
bigger
you're
than
not
it's like my hands cramp up.
Oh, with bigger needles?
With bigger needles.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. And I have kind of big hands, so you would think I could handle the big needles, but no, I like the little. I love fingering white yarn, but I also like sport.
Yeah. So do you like fingering weight yarn because, I mean, I suppose if you wanted to have a chunkier gauge, you could just double strand it or triple strand it. Do you like that versatility? You just like the lightweight fabric?
I like the lightweight fabric. I like the drape of it, and I don't like wearing big chunky sweaters.
Yes.
So I think that's where it comes from.
And today, I'll take a picture a little bit later and insert it, but today Anne's wearing one of her skirts. Which one are you wearing today?
I'm wearing Putting on the Pleats, the first skirt I designed.
Yes, it's lovely. And you used Woolmiza for that one.
Yep. Woolmiza Pure. It's 100% superwash.
Yep.
But it works so well in a skirt because it must be about a 5-ply. I mean, it feels kind of stringy when you work with it.
Yeah.
But then it just has beautiful drape. There's absolutely no pilling because it's so tightly spun with a lot of
Yes.
plies.
And lots of twist in it?
And lots of twist, yeah.
Yeah. I think I remember picking up a skein of it once, and I think even when they skein it really tight, so
Yeah.
you feel like you're picking up a stick. But
Yeah,
then,
or almost like
yeah.
it's cotton twine or
Right,
something.
right,
But
yeah.
oh my gosh, it blooms when you wash it,
nice.
and it has kind of a silky sheen to it. So it looks kind of silky.
Right. Do you think it's so? There again, do you have a preference when it comes to knitting with using a worsted preparation yarn or a woolen preparation yarn?
It depends on what I'm knitting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to Knit Doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you say is the most complicated question you've had to answer?
I think. Now you've stumped me. What is the most complicated? The ones that are hardest for me is when I have to tell someone, you really do have to rip this out.
Right. Yeah.
When it can't be fixed.
Right. Yeah.
So those I'm not real happy with. And I guess when someone comes and says, what type of sweater is going to look best on me?
Yes. That's a
I
tough
can't
one.
look at someone and tell them that.
Yeah.
As I say, just try on different types and find out what you like.
Right. Yeah, sometimes you get those questions that are really personal, right? And it's tough. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good answer. Sometimes people will come into the store, Anne, and they'll say, I just want a plain sweater pattern. And I say, oh, okay. Do you have that? And I say, yeah. And I take them over to our book stand and I show them Anne Budd's handy book of knitting patterns.
Yeah.
Because they're just, they're just basic patterns in
Multiple
4 or 5
sizes and
gauges.
multiple
Yeah.
5 gauges. I think the handy book of patterns, which is the mittens and socks and hats and things. I think I did 5 gauges, and I did depended. Some, like hats, you only need like 4 or 5, not that many sizes. But a sweaters, I think I have 15 sizes at different gauges. And the whole point was, when I worked at a yarn store, people would come in and say, I just want a basic pattern for this yarn. There's a basic pattern, but it was for a different gauge.
Yeah.
And I thought how versatile this would be.
So when you take people shopping, do you have a sense, like if they say, well, I want to do a sweater, and you go shopping, do you have a sense of how many skeins they should buy?
Yes, I have my, hold on. I put it in here.
Do you bring a cheat sheet with you? Excuse me. I'm also battling an allergy, so pardon the coughing.
Okay.
Yes.
So my handy guide to yarn requirements, which does say how much yarn you need for different projects at different sizes.
Right. We have
And-
this in the shop too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have a crochet guide as well.
And I do.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
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 And so I just crocheted bunches of samples to get
Yeah.
it figured for single crochet, double crochet. And for the knitting, it was basic sport weight, worsted weight, fingering weight till I got the gauge. And then a lot of math to figure out the area of a sweater or a scarf or a hat.
Yes.
And come up with the numbers. And hopefully, and then I add 15% just for safety. So
Right.
you probably are going to have yarn left over.
Right.
But I figure that's cheap insurance.
Right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
exactly, because there's nothing worse than, especially if you're doing a sweater from the bottom up, right?
Yes.
Is to run out as you're doing the second sleeve. And then, what do
And
you
then
do?
what do you do?
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
We've all been there.
we have. We've played yarn chicken, and sometimes we win and sometimes we lose.
No, it seems to me that Europeans, for example, will choose yarn quantities based on weight, like actual weight. So
Yeah, in grams.
Yeah. So we'll see on the ball bands of some yarn, they'll say, for a women's sweater you need 450 grams, and for a men's sweater it might be 550 grams. Or do you ever do that? Do you ever go by like total weight?
I don't, because that doesn't make sense because, well, I mean, clearly it does because they know. But different yarn has different weights. But it's really the yardage you need to make the stitches.
Yes.
And think about how much heavier cotton is than wool.
Yes.
You know, and so the weight doesn't make sense in a general sense.
Right.
But if the yarn manufacturer, you know, they know how many yards is in each.
Right.
And so they'll just tell you how many grams, so then you know how many balls.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
assuming.
Yeah, I have a friend, you know, my friend Catherine, and she likes to go shopping for yarn. She just like buys 2,000 meters.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
she'll
and then
have
you're
plenty
safe.
of yarn.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
10 balls sometimes if it's
Right.
100-gram balls or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's always something to do with the leftover.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's hats, there's mitts, well, I guess it depends on where you live, but there's always something to do with the leftovers. Barb and I were chatting on the way down about getting some giant knitting needles. She's got a manufacturer that she's talking to about getting 45 millimeter knitting needles.
See, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
How do you manipulate?
Well, the idea is that you can use these knitting needles for these extreme blankets that are done with wool roving.
Right.
And so, you know, she said, but you could also do a stash buster where you hold like 12
Right.
strands of yarn together and just knit them. It's a slow process, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Because you can't tension the yarn at
No.
the same time.
Yeah.
It takes your whole hand
Yes.
to insert the needle.
Yes.
And then you've got to pick up the yarn
Yeah.
and wrap it.
Yeah, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you may only have 12 stitches to
Right.
get across your blanket, right? So it's
Yeah.
a slower process, but yeah. Have you ever been stumped as the yarn doctor?
The knit doctor.
The knit doctor?
I don't fix yarn. Have I ever been stumped? There was one where someone had this complicated, it was a sweater in a complicated lace pattern, and she had pieces that, you know, she got frustrated and she put it in her closet and she brought it when she knew she was going to have a appointment with me. I could not figure out even what the pieces were supposed to be. I couldn't figure out what was the back, what was the sleeve. I mean, nothing that she had matched what I could see she was supposed to have. You know, and some pieces were on needles and the number of stitches didn't match, you know, so yes, that stumped me. And I think that's one where I said I would just rip it out.
Yes.
And start over.
Yes. So when you tell people to pull back, so it's a project and they're going to pull back and reuse the yarn, do you have any advice for them on what to do with the yarn before they use it again?
Yeah, ideally you want to wind it into a hank, soak it, let it get wet, because you get the kinks. You got to get rid of the kinks, because if you knit again and it's very kinky, it's going to make your stitches uneven, and you can't block that out to look good when you have different amounts of yarn in your stitches.
Yeah. So you get it wet to get rid of the
I soak
the
it
kinks.
for 20 minutes,
Yep.
and then just squeeze the water out, and then I just put the hank over a hanger
Yeah.
and hang it over the sink.
Yeah.
And let it air dry.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of pull it a little, snap it, and then it's good to go.
Yes. And then you have to wind it back into
You
a ball,
do.
right?
You do. So it takes a little more work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I find if someone's just ripping out a few rows and you just wind it around the ball and knit it again quickly, it's okay. But if the yarn has been blocked, you know, wet, a knitted piece, and you're ripping that out, those kinks have to be taken out.
Yeah. Some people ask me sometimes, you know, whether or not it's okay to iron their garments. So, you know, there are some designers out there who recommend steam pressing or actually pressing your work with an iron. How do you feel about that? Do you have an opinion?
That scares me, because I'm just afraid, one, you know, am I going to scorch it?
Yeah.
But steaming, what you don't want to do with the iron is rub it unless you really want to abuse the knitting. And there was a time where people were doing silk tape yarn
Oh, yes.
or rayon, and then you would just really smash it with a hot iron to get it to smash. And it made a beautiful fabric for a scarf.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't do that
For
for a sweater. I see nothing wrong with just tapping it with a steam iron,
Yeah.
especially to set a seam once you've sewn it. But I wouldn't move the iron because you can stretch it and you've got the heat and the moisture and you can
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
make it become a form you didn't really want.
Right. And you have to be careful with the composition of the
Right.
yarn as well, because if it's synthetic, you definitely
You're
don't want
just
to put
going
a
to
hot
melt
iron on
it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can always like wet a tea towel and just
Yes.
steam it a little bit. But I think most of our irons today have a nice steam section on it, so you can just put some hot air in there.
Yeah.
But again, I suppose hot air is something, or that hot steamy air, you can also probably damage your fibers if you're not careful. It's pretty hot.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you can. I'm always thinking wool. And
Yes.
it's wool can stand a shot of
Good steam.
good steam, and something like linen. You have to abuse it before it gets nice and soft,
Yes. Yeah.
drapey.
Have you ever had to perform knit surgery
As a knit doctor,
as a knit doctor?
I am not sure.
Okay. So, for example, I had a customer come into the store once, this is quite a while ago, and she had knit a sweater for her husband, but it was too long. And she didn't want to take it all apart. I mean, this was one that was sewn up the sides and everything. So I suggested to her that she undo the seams and remove a section
Yes.
from the middle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and in fact, I had someone yesterday who had a sweater that was too short,
Okay.
but it was knitted from the bottom up with a texture pattern at the
Okay.
bottom. So I showed her where to pick up stitches in the stockinette place.
Yes.
And then I showed her where to cut it.
Yeah.
I offered that I would do it for her, but she wasn't quite, I'm not sure
Yes.
she's really ready to do it yet.
Right.
But that's exactly what, and then I would have her knit the extra 3 inches.
Right.
And then redo the texture pattern.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So knit, just take that.
Yeah.
Take that bottom up design, cut it, and knit down.
Right.
Yeah. Do you find people are intimidated by that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't want to do it if I don't have to.
No. But
Yeah.
I have a hat right now that I'm working on, and it's a sample for the store, and my skein is 85 grams, and I'm not sure I'll be able to get to the top of it. So I've just decided in my head I'm going to knit as far as I can or try to finish the top. And if I run out of yarn, then I'm going to go under the brim and, cut it
Yeah.
and recondition the yarns that we're talking
Yeah.
about. Use it for the top and put another thing
Something
in
else.
there
Yeah.
because it'll be hidden anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
You get creative.
Yeah. Do you like, so a lot of people now are talking to us about doing classes in steeking. I know you have a class in steeking. Steeking is when you, actually cut your work vertically.
Right.
So you're cutting right through the lines of your knitting, which is
So you
kind
can
of
turn a
freaky.
pullover into a cardigan.
Right. Yeah.
Is-
Yeah. Are you a fan of steeking?
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't do it very often, but it's a wonderful technique, especially if you do color work, because color work is so much easier to do in the round where you're only looking at the right side of
Right.
it. And so I think that's where steeking really started. But then you can do it if some people just really hate to purl.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they would rather steek and knit in the round. But it gets more complicated in a sweater because then those people need to steek the armholes
Right.
and the neck, and it looks very odd
Yes.
at the end
Yeah.
before you cut. And then you have to cut the neck and the armholes
Yes.
and the front.
Yeah. I'm working on a little vest right now just for that reason. So yeah, when you get to the top, it kind of looks like you're making a tea cozy
Yeah.
with these funny little steek lines in
Yep.
it. But it's kind of a liberating experience.
It is so liberating. When I teach the class and we just do a little cup cozy,
Right.
So you're not that invested in it. And when it's time for people to cut it,
Yeah.
they just beam. You
Yeah.
know, I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing bad happened.
Nothing bad happened.
It didn't
Yeah.
crumble. It didn't fall
Yeah,
apart.
as long as you secure the stitches, you're fine.
Yes.
So that's really nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay, so I have one more question here about Knit Doctor. Do you have like a doctor's bag, a tool bag of things that you take with you that you have here in these sessions?
I do.
Yeah,
Do you
what's
want
in
to
it?
see what I have?
do. You've got some bags of samples
Okay,
here.
so I have a sample of rowing out.
Ah.
You see those horizontal lines where the knitting, I knit and purl at 2 different gauges to explain to people why when you
Yes.
knit something in the round, you need to do your gauge swatch in the round.
Right.
So I have examples of how you accomplish that where every stitch is knitted every row. This is just a piece of knitting that I have demonstrated to someone how to cut and do duplicate stitch
To repair the
repair
hole.
a hole.
Ah, nice.
I have some gauge swatches, and people often have questions about socks, so I have some sample socks, and then I have some samples to show them how to pick up the
Nice.
stitches.
How to pick up stitches around the gusset.
so it's just, here's increases and how to count rows between increases. That's often
Yeah.
a question. Or count rows between cables.
Yeah.
That can be hard. Another question I get a lot is on seaming. So I have this miniature sweater,
Oh,
and I was demonstrating to someone the shoulder seam.
right. So after this session, will you take those
Yeah.
seams out again? Oh, wow.
Or we'll do,
That's great.
here I'd started a side seam for
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So I try
cool.
to anticipate, when you sign up for the Knit Doctor,
Yeah.
there's a line where you put in what your ailment is.
Right.
But a lot of them just say to be determined.
Ah, yes.
And it's whatever comes up.
Yeah. So do you like the spontaneity of that?
I love it. And I love the one-on-one and really getting to spend time versus being in front of 20 people and being responsible to make sure they all learn the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm having a blast.
I love this too. And when the first night that we came here, I sat down at a table for dinner and Isabel Kramer was there and we were talking. And I said to her that I have this idea that, as a participant in a retreat like this, we like to take classes, but I think we also like the opportunities to sit down and just chat with the knitting stars, right? The people that we've admired from far away.
And you find out that they're perfectly normal people.
Yeah. And you get to ask, you just get to ask questions or have some, some quality time. So I really like that about your retreats, that you have all of your guests come and mingle with everybody and, make a really big effort. I mean, it's hard on all of you, right? Because you're teaching all day long and then you've got to socialize at lunch and at dinner and it's a big expectation and you must be very tired afterwards.
Well, I think we're all pretty tired at the end of it. But the other thing is you get such a charge from talking to people. So it's like you get on this high and you ride the high.
Yes.
And then Sunday after brunch, when it's all over, I don't know about other people, but I take a nap for a couple hours.
Yeah. I think you have to recharge. And I think too, it seems to me that the more designers I meet, the more they say to me, I'm really an introvert. I'm not a I'm not the kind of person who gets charged from the meet and greets all the time or having to talk to people. So that opportunity to kind of retreat yourself and recharge is a good thing.
It is.
Yeah. And I think sometimes as participants we don't often recognize that. So I was saying to Isabel, I think it would be really cool to have a retreat where one of your class sessions is just like a seminar in a sense, where you come to a room, 20 people there, and it's not about learning some specific thing. It's more about having a conversation with the person that's invited to the retreat. I'm thinking about this as something that we might do at the store. So when we bring in, we've got some special guests that are coming over the summer, but maybe just offering that out to people as an opportunity to
Just hang out, like
bring
have a knitting group.
yeah, bring your project.
Yeah.
We can have it more as a form. We could have somebody there who's asking questions in case people are shy. But I don't think people are too shy. They'll ask, they'll ask their questions. So where do you get your inspiration from? Yeah. So so I think this is really good. It's a really nice opportunity, and your retreats always build that in anyway. So it's kind of like an added bonus. But so you do how many Knit for Fun retreats every year?
I do 3 a year.
Okay.
One in the spring, which we're here in Maine. Then one in the fall, and this fall will be in La Jolla,
Right, California.
and then one in Canada.
Yes.
Which the last 2 years have been in Edmonton.
Yes.
And this year it's going to be in Mont Tricot,
Yes.
outside of Montreal.
Isn't that lovely?
Very excited.
Yeah. So who have you got coming to Montreal?
Alexa Ludeman from Tin Can Knits.
Yes.
Nancy Marchant, who
Yes.
lives in the Netherlands,
Right.
but she's a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
And Julie Weisenberger of Cocoa Knits.
Yes.
So that's Mont Tremblant,
Okay.
which is going to be wonderful.
And that retreat is full.
Yes.
But there's a wait
There's
list.
a wait list.
There's always a wait
and
list.
always people have to cancel for whatever reason.
Right.
And then we're able to pull people up off of the wait list. I think there's maybe 10 people at this retreat that came off the wait list.
Okay.
Because
okay.
for whatever reason, someone
Yes.
has a baby or something, because
yes.
they sign up
Things come
early
up,
and then
yeah.
things come up.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good. So it's good to know that if you're on the wait list, there's hope. Yeah.
There is.
And then in La Jolla, in California, who have you got coming to?
Nancy Bush, who
Yes.
is
Yes.
Estonian knitting, and she used to be the sock guru.
Yes.
She taught me to knit socks. And she's not going to be teaching much more, so we're pretty lucky to have her.
Yes.
Andrea Rangel
Yes.
from Vancouver, I think, BC.
Yes. That we were kind of talking about whether or not she was from the West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah. And the third one is Vera Valimaki from Finland.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great lineup. And there are still some seats available
There
for
are,
that one.
yes,
Okay.
in beautiful La Jolla.
Yeah. And what time of year is that?
That will be in September.
Okay.
So it'll be
Nice
beautiful
time.
fall weather.
Yeah. And La Jolla, is it like northern or southern California?
It's southern. It's
okay.
very close to San Diego. You'll fly in and out of San Diego.
Okay. Oh, nice. And that's not the first time you've been to La Jolla, right?
It is. I mean, I've been there to check out. We checked out venues,
Okay.
and we chose La Stancia,
Okay.
which is this beautiful, it's like a hacienda type compound where there's little buildings and all these wonderful gardens that you can walk around. But it'll be our first retreat
Right.
in
there.
Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be so nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will put a note in the show notes where people can click if they want to get more information
Great.
on the retreats. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so I have one more question for you. Let me see here. Okay. So you travel a lot. In between your Knit for Fun retreats, you're teaching all over the place. You've been to Italy. You've been you've had some really amazing travel
Scotland,
experiences. Yes.
Australia, as you know,
Yes.
because we were there together.
Yes. So when you pack to go, do you have a go-to knitting project, or what do you take for knitting when you travel?
I try to take something that's not bulky
Okay.
and that I can get a lot of hours, that will
Yes.
last me. So lately it's been skirts because they're very easy knitting.
Right.
And you don't have to pay much attention. You just have to knit a lot.
Right.
Or I'll have socks. I rarely take a sweater because it's just too bulky and takes up too much
Yeah.
suitcase space.
Yeah. Yeah. And how many skirt patterns do you have?
I think I have 6 patterns total on Ravelry. I'm not sure.
Okay. I'll look them up.
Yep. And then I've made extras where I just use the same pattern, the basic pattern, but
Right.
different yarns.
Right. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll look those up too and put a link in.
Okay.
And then just recently, just on that topic, you did 2 new little sweater patterns because you had new people into your life.
My niece had the first grandchild on my side of the family.
Yes.
So we were very excited. She took her a long time to get pregnant.
Yes.
And it was a very much wanted child. So
Yes.
I kept knitting. I sent her a present every month while she was pregnant because I just thought that was a fun thing.
Yes.
That, something would arrive on her doorstep.
Oh, nice.
So I made a little pair of socks from my Better Than Booties baby socks pattern. And I knit her the little hat, Rachel's hat.
Oh, a hat for Rachel.
A hat for Rachel.
Yes.
I knit that. And then I designed a baby blanket, which is not yet up on Ravelry, but will be shortly. And then 2 little sweaters, one using your yarn.
Yeah, Adam and Eve.
Was it Adam and Eve? Are you sure?
I think so.
Okay,
Pretty sure,
you would know better than me. I thought it might have
Fingering
been the
weight.
hat. It was fingering weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one is called the Dalton cardigan. We didn't know if it was going to be a boy or girl.
Right.
So the Dalton cardigan is more boyish.
Okay.
And at your shop, I got those wonderful little leatherette tags that say
Yes.
handmade. So I
Yes.
sewed one of those on.
Oh.
And then the other one is the Aubrey cardigan, which is a little sweet pink one in case it was a girl.
Yes.
And it
turned
was
out
a
to be
girl.
a girl.
Yeah.
And what did they name her?
Helen,
Helen. Oh, cute.
after her grandmother.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, well,
Okay.
I think my knit doctor time is up.
I
can
think I've
hear
got
the door
another
opening.
patient.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll let you go. Thank you
you.
so much
Oh,
for this
it's always a
opportunity.
joy.
Yeah. All right. Well, you
Thanks for coming.
have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you tonight at dinner.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so I'm here with Emma and Aspen, right? And you guys came all the way here from Florida.
Yes.
Come on in, yeah. And there are other customers here too, yeah. Then you dye your own yarn.
Yes, we can dye the
Yes.
yarn together.
Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to flip the camera around and then we'll talk some more.
Okay.
All right, so tell me, you guys, how you got into this business of dyeing yarn.
So when I was 15, I started dyeing as like a homeschool project with my mom in our kitchen. And then when Aspen graduated from college, she joined me, and that's when the business really took off. And we started Emma's Yarn.
Yeah. So it's named after you.
Yes.
Aspen, you don't get any credit for the yarn?
Well, Emma started it when I was away at college, and it was really just meant to be like a project she was learning for school, and then she did a few small batches that she sold in our parents' yarn store.
Okay.
And then the customers at my parents' store like loved the yarn. It became a hit, and so when I was graduating college, my mom called me and was like, "We have a real opportunity here."
Yes.
And so then they had already named it. It already had labels going because when they were selling it in the store, that's what they were doing. And so when I joined in, we decided to keep everything the same and just keep going.
Yeah.
So that's
Perfect.
why it's called Emma's Yarn. And she does most of, we do the dyeing and stuff like that together, but I'm mostly behind the scenes. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So take me on a tour of your tables. Show me your yarn.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this first table here is our 100% superwash merino wool base. It's a 4-ply. It's called Beautifully Basic because it's beautifully basic.
Okay.
And then this table over here is super silky. So that's 80-20 with superwash merino wool and silk. And then this back table here is our Hella Hanks, which are 600 yards, and it's an MCN. So that's superwash merino wool, cashmere, and nylon. 600 yards, super big. And then our last table here is DK. It's superwash merino wool and nylon,
Yeah.
and it's simply spectacular.
It sure is. I bought a couple of these skeins last night
Yes.
to take home to my daughter. And do you like to dye fingering weight versus DK?
I like to dye both. It's all fun to do.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a color that's your favorite?
My favorite color is
Yeah, pull it out for us and show us.
well, this is the color. It's Malibu, because my favorite color was pink, and then I was like, I want to change my favorite color to blue, and so this is like all my favorite colors in one.
Right.
So this one's definitely my favorite. But yeah.
Yeah, Malibu is really pretty. How do you come up with the inspiration for your color names?
Whatever we see, really, and like, we just dye. So like, our mom will send us pictures of like the sunset or like scenery that she sees, and she's like, dye me this color. Or if we think of colors in our heads, we just throw color on yarn. It's really just a whole lot of trial and error, and whatever comes to our mind, I guess.
And do you have an online store?
So we do not sell directly on our online store, but we have a list of shops that we're in, and you can buy from them. We like to support local yarn shops.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And are they all over the U.S.?
Yes. We don't have any in Canada, but we are all over the U.S.
Okay, okay. So we could order online from my yarn shop in the U.S.
Yep. So our parent store has
okay.
a huge online store. They're 4 Purls.
Okay.
And they sell all of our inventory online.
Oh, perfect. So 4 Purls in Florida.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's Purls.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you for showing me the yarn.
Yes.
Okay, so here I am with Deb, and Deb has this really cool business that I'm going to show you in a second. And as you can see, we're at the Knit for Fun retreat, and it's lunchtime, so it's going to get really busy in here.
Right.
So we're just going to do a quick little view of all the things in the store.
Thank you.
What you got here on the table? Let's start over here with these little pouches.
Yeah, well, a little bit about what I do.
Yeah.
What I do is I find vintage embroidery, quilts, feed seed bags, anything, and then I repurpose them into useful items, such as pouches and drawstring bags and tote bags.
Right.
So, for example, this is hand crocheted that I actually found at Goodwill.
Oh my goodness.
And I turned it into a pouch. These are like embroidered napkins, and then I added, these are repurposed salvages from the edge of fabrics.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I have the little pouches.
Yep.
And then the other thing that I make are these drawstring knitting project bags.
Yes.
And again, repurposed
Look at that.
embroidery that someone, not me,
Yes.
spent a lot of time on.
Where do you find these? So do you go to thrift stores?
Yeah,
Do you have friends who
pretty
go
much
to their parents'
everything.
closets?
Yeah, I do yard sales. I do Goodwill bins. I go to flea markets. I went to a church sale this weekend and found some.
Yep.
Because I can't really pay a lot for the pieces that I incorporate because of all the new fabrics that I put with them to make the new pieces. So these are the drawstring bags.
I love drawstring bags for knitting. There's no zippers to get your yarn caught up in.
As I understand it, I'm learning the whole knitting world. This is new to me.
Right.
And some people prefer the zipper bag, so I am going to be adding a zipper bag to my line as a project bag, which will basically be
you've got
like
some zipper bags over here.
Yeah, these are the smaller bags. When I first started out doing this, I was thinking cosmetic bags.
Right.
So all of the zipper pouches feature a coated lining.
Right.
Which you can use them for a cosmetic bag, or you can use them for notions or whatever you want. And then I make these in 3 sizes.
Yep.
The small size, a medium size, and then the larger size. And you'll see there's a variety of different needlework here that I use.
Yeah.
So they're really
that
fun.
Turtle, that's just so cute.
Yeah, someone put a lot of time into these.
Yes.
I love this one too.
Yeah, is that like a wedding?
I can't remember what this came off from. It may have come off a pillowcase.
Right.
There's a lot of those.
Beautiful.
And then
you have these large bags here.
I
that
do,
are
which there
made
aren't
from-
too many left.
No.
Some of them are made out of like like this one. I took a trip out west and I got a lot of feed and seed bags.
Okay.
This is a seed bag that's been repurposed.
Yes.
From Iowa.
Oh, that's so nice.
And these are large totes, so they could be used as a project bag or whatever you want. And I also make them, like this one here is made out of a repurposed vintage tablecloth. And I also use the embroidery, whatever I can find.
Yes, yes.
So
where did you learn to sew?
My mom, I'm one of 9 children, 6 girls. And my mom taught us all how to sew when I was very young. So I've been sewing my entire life, and I have a love for anything needlework and vintage. So it just was kind of happened. I just started doing this less than 2 years ago that I was making the bags to sell, and the knitting world kind of found me.
Yes. And do you have an online store?
Currently I'm just on Facebook.
Okay. And
the name of my business is Deborah, Deborah, Harry's, Harry''S. And yes, that's Blondie, which you can see I'm not Blondie. But my husband's name is Harry, and we thought that was kind of a cute name for a business.
Okay.
So that's where we came up with that.
Okay, perfect. So people could purchase
They can message me if they want. I'm currently in the process of building my business, so hopefully I'll have more of an online presence, but that's where they can find me right now.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to let you get back to your customers because they're very important.
Yes.
You've got a line up here, so thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, so now I'm here with
Kendra Milis.
Right, and Kendra, you have a beautiful display of fiber and yarn.
Yes.
Can you take us on a little tour of what you brought today?
Sure.
Okay.
So my business name is Maine Fiber Workshop.
Okay.
I'm located here in Maine.
Mm-hmm. And you brought a wheel with you?
Yes. Yes. I've been spinning yesterday.
What kind of wheel do you have?
This is a Shocked Sidekick. It's my travel wheel, and I brought it in large part because it folds up. And it can fold up very small, which is very convenient.
Perfect. So you like to spin?
I do like to spin, yes. So I have a variety of fibers. Some of these, the pre-blended, I get import from the UK. And then all of the rest of the fiber comes to me in its natural form, mostly white, but some browns. And then I dye it.
Right. And your daughter was reminding you.
Yes.
Tell us about the
so
it's brown, right?
This is a new thing that I'm doing, and I've only just started, so this is the only color I have. But this is black Shetland wool.
Yes.
That has it's 80% the Shetland and then 20% silk mixed in, and because of the color of the silk is obviously white, and the wool is dark, and so when I dye it, the color goes into the silk.
Isn't that cool?
And you get this really cool effect. I haven't had a chance to spin some of this yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what it looks like spun up.
Yeah. Have you spun like blends with silk before?
Yes. Yes.
And how do you find the silk takes? Like, is it harder to get it to?
So. When spinning, it's a little bit more slippery, so it goes through a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of getting used to when you first start, but it adds. I have some over here. This, for example, has some silk in, and you can see just the white.
Yes.
And it adds just a bit of sheen.
Yeah.
And makes the yarn at the end a little bit more drapey.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes, when you're spinning, as I do a little bit of spinning myself.
Yes.
Sometimes, when you have a blend, you have to kind of tease out the other fibers in there.
Yes.
And what's
these two baskets here are felting fiber. A lot of people come to my booth asking, do I have fiber for felting? And so I'm giving them what they're asked for.
Right.
So it's just a whole variety of different colors. Most of it's merino. It comes to me as sort of a mystery grab bag, and so I can't guarantee what fiber it is.
Right.
But for felting purposes, most people are not particular. So it's just a lot of different felting fiber.
That's nice. And you've dyed it all?
I did not. This I didn't dye.
Oh, okay.
I will when I have.
Like this.
Yes, it just comes to me like this. But the roving, for sure, I dye all my own.
And these are your yarns.
And then these are my yarn. Yes, so I've dyed all these yarns.
Look at the mermaid colors here.
Yeah. So this is all sock yarn, which is, I do probably more sock yarn than anything else, just because that's what most people ask for.
And you got some here with some like neps in it.
Yes. This is fun. I have two bases. I have a merino and I have BFL. These are the base.
Okay.
And then it has these bits of sort of black and white, and there's a little bit of gray neps, which it's a synthetic that just doesn't take dye.
Right.
So when I dye it, obviously the specks remain.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the process that they use for tweed.
I was just going to say, yes, a tweed effect.
But in dyeing, it would replace the speckles.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's very clever.
Yes.
Excuse me.
And then I've been experimenting with some gradient packs.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do different gradient packs, and so I did.
And look at that fluorescent orange in
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That was.
Is it hard to dye really bright colors?
No, that was actually a mistake.
Okay.
But I was like, people like bright colors.
Yes.
So no, it just takes a bit more dye.
Yeah.
So this is the shawl that I made as a sort of starting with the gradients, and that was with this gradient pack and then a skein of the sock yarn.
Yes, gradients are they're really popular, and it's nice when you do small packs like that because then people don't have to buy full skeins, right?
And then I have lace yarn, and then I have some worsted weight, and then my basket of hand spun is woefully small now. It was much.
I took a beautiful skein of Masham out of here.
Oh right, yes, you did.
Yeah.
So yes, you can vouch for the fact that there was more yesterday.
Do you think people like to buy hand spun?
I do, yeah. I mean, it's obvious it's more expensive because obviously there's a lot more hours that go into it. Somebody was asking me yesterday, and I've gotten to the point for like a worsted weight, I can make a skein of worsted weight in around 5 hours or so. But still, I mean, 5 hours worth of work, even at a fairly low wage, and you've got to pay for your fiber. But it has a certain. It has character. It has springiness. It has bounce that commercially spun fiber just tends not to have.
That's right. And it's handcrafted.
It is.
Like totally handcrafted. Yeah. Well, that's great. So thank you so much for the story. Now, if somebody wants to buy any of your lovely yarn, do you have an online store?
I do. So like I said, my business name is Maine Fiber Workshop, and so my online website is just mainfiberworkshop.com.
Okay.
Because this is not actually my day job.
Yes.
I have. It's always a challenge keeping my online store up to date with my inventory, and so I actually have much more available than shows up online.
Right.
So if people want a specific thing, they can certainly send me an email and ask.
Right. And do you put your hand spun online as well?
I do when it's available. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, so we'll look you up and put some links in our show notes.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
That's really nice. I'll talk to you later. So here I am with talking with
Karen Grover.
Right. And what do you call your company, Karen?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Seven Sisters Arts.
Right. So tell us a little bit about Seven Sisters.
So I primarily dye yarn. I really like to dye anything I can get my hands on. So I put the name arts, or the word arts in the name to be a little ambiguous. So that, because sometimes I do shibori and other fabric dyeing.
Okay.
But mostly what I purvey is yarn for knitters and crocheters.
Yeah. So take us on a little tour and show us what you brought with you to this event.
Okay. So one of my really popular items are the gradient sets, which are mini skeins. And I'm pretty kind of low on some colors right now, but they're dyed at different levels of saturation. Some of them are over dyed, so they may go through the process twice to achieve the colors.
They're gorgeous.
Thank you.
So how many mini skeins are in the set?
6.
Okay.
There's 900 yards roughly, usually a little more, but I say 900.
And tell me a little bit about the garments that you brought, because people are going to want to know what they're called.
Right.
Yeah.
So We can come back to that because that's a different yarn. But
Okay.
this is Light Waves by Susan Ashcroft with some modifications to make it longer.
What's it called again?
Light Waves.
Light Waves. Oh, okay, yep. Susan
This
Croft.
Ashcroft.
Ashcroft, thank you.
This is graphite skirt, and it's modular knitting with a gradient and then a main color.
Yep.
That's by Anne Marie Kirsch from Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then there's more gradient colors here.
They're gorgeous. They're just gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this is Sagitta, which is a gray gradient with a plum color as the contrast. And that's designed by Amanda Schusger, who was an architect, so she has a real eye for form and detail. And then there's a few. Let's go on this side because the light's a little better.
Yes.
Another gradient. This is these two people might recognize the Ainara.
This is Teresa Chavez, the one behind, right?
Right. So, hang on a second here. This one is Light Waves. So that I'm sorry, Ainara Wrap by Amanda. Amba. The last one was Amba O'Brien, using 2 sets of gradients. And then this one is Escalator Wrap by Teresa Chavez.
And is that a gradient?
It is. Yep. I don't. Yes. It's 2 and then a contrast color. But her pattern, this also has modifications because it was written for 5 colors and I wanted to use all 6.
Did you knit all these samples?
No, I did knit these and I've knitted a lot, but I do all the dyeing and everything. I'm a one-person show. So I have a team of really fantastic sample knitters that help me because when I'm sleeping and eating, they help me knit.
Well, that's great. So let's take a tour of the other yarns.
Okay, so these are the silk wool bases, and there's a single ply and a double ply.
Yeah, and do they dye differently? Like, are these the ones that I'm looking at here in the camera? Are they dyed the same way or at the same time?
Yeah, I throw a lot of bases in at the same time.
Right.
And these are both merino and silk, so they dye the same.
But like this one here, the single versus the ply.
Well, that wasn't the same color, same batch.
Okay.
But
Do your customers prefer singles over plies or plied yarn over singles? Do you notice, or do you have a preference?
Well, I think for knitting, I think that the 2-ply holds up better.
Okay.
But I think singles have kind of come into favor again more recently. And I think visually they're more appealing, like eye candy almost, because I think that the ply maybe breaks up the line of the color on the, if you look at this, there's these are the same color. The light's not great,
It's not too bad, yeah.
but it's almost more painterly on the single ply, and then the double ply, because you have the line of the ply, I think that's almost distracting to the eye. So I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but it's just something that's interesting when you're dyeing it and looking at things.
Yeah.
And then I have this. Oh, Christina. I'll give this to you later.
Somebody left their project bag behind.
So this is a merino yak and silk blend, and the undyed color is this beautiful oatmeal color from the yak.
Yeah.
So this takes the dye. It looks, the dyes are darker on it because the base starts out darker.
Right. Yeah.
So this is the same color that we were looking at
before. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you. Right. So this, it's just richer, you know, on that yak base.
Yep. I'm just gonna let this cord drop here for a second. There we go.
But this is a very popular yarn, and it just has, it's more subtle, you know, because of the way the base is. I try not to overpower it because I just think it's really beautiful, even undyed.
Yes. And so what's the percentage of yak in this one?
It's 60 merino and then 20 yak and 20 silk.
Okay.
And that has a really wonderful hand.
And is that what this shawl is made out of?
Yes, and that's Philomat from Hunter Hammerson's first curls book.
That's amazing.
Isn't that?
It's just so
I didn't knit it,
beautiful.
so I get to say how amazing it is.
Yes.
But one of my awesome sample knitters did it.
It's so interesting. Like, these are twisted stitches, a little bit of cabling in there. And it's just stunning.
Yeah, and this is the book, and this is actually the it's the pattern on the cover.
Yeah.
But ours was done on a finer yarn and a tighter gauge. And the wonderful thing about this book is that you can use any yarn and just adjust, you know, for making the fabric the way you like it. I try to dye colors that coordinate and that make it really easy for people to pair colors or use them in a sequence. So that's what this was. It's 3 variegated colors. It's a little hard to see in this light.
Right.
But
yes.
And so, like, these 3, these aren't a total set. It might work better on another yarn I could show you, but I try to get colors that will work together.
Right. I can kind of see that the way that you've got it laid out.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is like a light and a dark.
Right.
And there is a darker one that I don't have. It's,
but it could be your darkest one anyway. Like, you could pair it with the lighter silvery kind of tones.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, very nice. Okay.
And then
on the other side, this is yak all the way down here.
Right down to the natural part.
Okay. And then what have we got here?
That is Meridian.
Okay.
Which is it's a sock yarn. It's 75 merino, 25 nylon, 4-ply, very tight twist. So it's great for socks, but people, you know, make sweaters with it and shawls. It has a nice drape.
I bet Ann, Bud, and Cindy were in here looking for skirt yarn.
They might have been.
Yes. Yes.
And so here you can see how these 3 colors are kind of a set. And, you know, it's a thematic thing. So this is a water garden series with water nymph, water lilies, and then damselfly.
Oh.
So I have a little fun with naming things.
Yes. What inspires you to name things? Is it the color, or do you have a name in mind before you dye it?
I generally don't have the name in mind. No, I wouldn't say I ever have a name in mind first. It's more, I might have a color, or I might think I really want to get like a woodsy color or a ocean. I live on the coast of Maine, and it's very a beautiful natural environment, very visually stimulating, and so I might have a sense of something I'm trying to achieve, but the naming will usually happen later. It's like, oh, okay, well, this reminds me of a mussel shell.
Right.
And then I might expand that and say, because as I'm dyeing, I can see what it looks like when it's lighter, and I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. So I've done a series that's based on the mussel shell being the darkest, and the light would be coquille, and then there's different shell names, but they all kind of relate with the colors. So I don't know. It's more, what does the color remind me of afterwards? And how can it tie together as a theme?
Yes.
So this is...
wow.
Like
this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have a series here that's called Rock On. So I named these after rocks.
Oh. That's
and then,
really nice.
And then you can throw these colors in.
Right. You get a bit of lichen on the rock.
Right, exactly. So... Or, you know, and then I love this teal on the end with... So it's just fun to kind of mix and match. It's like having a box of magic crayons.
Yes. Okay, so I see a shawl down here that's catching my eye. Tell me about this shawl.
This is with that Apex yarn.
Okay.
With the yak.
Okay.
And it's a Melanie Berg pattern. It's called Open Waters.
That's really pretty. Yes.
Yeah, I love kind of bold geometric designs. That really caught my eye too.
Yeah.
So here's some of the other colors of the mussel, the lighter ones.
Right.
I don't have any of the darker left in this base, but
I love those purples. I don't know much about mussels, to be frank, but yeah, because I'm a prairie girl. But but yeah, these colors are they're just gorgeous, and I see what you're saying about being able to blend them together. Because that's a really popular thing right now too. Is like to do the fades and the gradient ideas. Like it just brings. It just brings another option into a knitter's palette.
Right, yeah. And I think I've always had that in mind when I'm putting, you know, I had a shop, so it's like you kind of, having a shop, you have to have a range of colors, and it's nice when there's this cohesiveness. And it just seems kind of logical, or it makes sense, and you just walk into that space where the colors are, and it's just like, oh, you know, that color thrill.
Yes.
And I really try to do colors, besides going together, that people can really wear, and that are not going to just... You're not going to be tired of that bright orange and bright hot pink next year. I mean, some people may never get tired of that, but you know, I sell a lot of gray.
Yeah, so I see one more yarn here behind. So tell us a little bit about this one, because these are more semi-solids.
Right. So these are organic merino with they're eco wash instead of super wash, which means they are machine washable, but it's done in a more eco-friendly process.
Oh, that's cool.
The super washing aspect. And then since it's so kind of environmentally geared, that yarn, I did all natural dyes on these.
So the super washing aspect is not chemical?
It's chemical, but it's not toxic.
Okay.
They use a lot of, I think it's something flate. I forget the word. That's very harsh. And so whatever they're using in this is not as harsh, and it's It's approved organically.
Okay. And you're using vegetable dyes, or you're using?
These are mostly dyed with botanical colors.
Okay.
Do you know that's a company? I think in Washington or Oregon. I forget which. But you know, when I learned how to dye yarn, it was with natural dyes 30-something years ago. And that was using dye stuff, you know, like I worked on a sheep farm, and some of the things that they grew, some of the things she imported, I think. But we were grinding and making powders and soaking. But this botanical colors sources that and sells basically ready to dye.
Right.
So that's what these are.
And next door to that? This is a thicker weight.
Right.
This is a DK or worsted?
This is a light worsted.
Okay.
And this one is merino cashmere nylon, and it's called Zodiac.
Yeah. Why Zodiac? Any particular reason?
Well, the name Seven Sisters, the business is named after a constellation, the Seven Sisters, or the Pleiades. And I've named the yarns, for the most part, with words that refer to astronomy. So, you know, Zodiac is a constellation. Astrid is one of the yarns. That's the name of a star. It literally means star, Astrid. That's where, like, astro and astronomy comes from that word. And the aster flower, because it's star-shaped. So I just tried to name the yarns kind of on that theme.
Right.
I'm big with, like, stories and themes.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are. So I think that's smart, and it also we sort of feel that. A second here. Here we go. So we sort of feel like the people like to buy yarns, or they like to shop in our store because the store or the yarns convey part of the personality of the person behind it, right? And so, so those stories I think are important, and that's kind of what we want to share on the podcast. So
nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it was wonderful to meet you.
It was so good to meet you.
Now, if somebody would like any of your yarn and they're not able to come here, can they get it online?
They can. It's sevensistersarts.com.
Okay. Yeah.
And
so you can do some. Some shopping.
I travel around the U.S. to a lot of shows and sell to a few shops, mostly on the East Coast.
Yes.
But online is good.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, well, you have a lovely day.
Thank you.
We'll see
you too, Cynthia.
See you at lunch or dinner.
Okay.
Hey, Cynthia.
Hey. Where are we today?
Yeah, guess where we are today? We're in Freeport, Maine. It's part of our Ann Bud Knit for Fun retreat. The retreat's now over, sadly. We had to say goodbye to Mary Jane Mucklestone and Isabel Kramer and Kate Atherley and Ann Bud. But we thought we have one afternoon that's free. And so we're here at Mother of Purl Yarn Shop. It's the little yarn shop in Freeport, Maine. They have a mermaid on the front window. It's such a cute shop. We'll just kind of take a quick little peek around. Looks like they carry all sorts of worsted weight in this section. They said that they're big fans of Noro. One of the owner's daughters is here, Robin. She's helping a customer right now, but we'll come and chat with her a little bit later.
Yeah, let's start to look around.
Okay.
Some super chunkies over
Yeah, let's go take a peek. Here's some more Noro. This is one that we have in our shop. This is Curion Air. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
Big, bulky, chunky.
Yeah. That's fast. And some blanket yarn, I think.
Yep. And oh, look at that Malabrigo shawl here.
This one here. Mhm.
That looks like blanket stitch, but brioche maybe style.
Maybe.
That's really cool. Let's just have a peek at this and see if there's a tag. Oh, this is Mecca. Feels lovely. Oh, and here's all their
Malabrigo.
Mecca, chunky.
I like how all the samples are displayed up on the shelf.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
That's really nice.
Say which one do you like, and then we'll figure out what the sweater's cost.
All right.
Oh, and look how they store their needles.
Oh, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so they have them in boxes. 6-inch DPNs, 8-inch.
I know you want to look in there.
I do, but I have to ask for assistance. Here's the sets. Chiagu, Lika, Addie. Oh, come back on and just take a peek at this. Look at this.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Aren't those cute? Zeke the aloof alpaca.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet.
man.
Yeah. Barocco vintage. So we see some same things.
Hey, hey.
Not quite as sweaters quantity. Oh, no.
For those that walk from
Oh, that's really a nice display.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, go to the chunky and take a left.
Go to the chunky and take a look.
Hi. Okay. Hey, Cynthia. I'm here with Susan. Susan's one of the owners?
Yes.
You and
Patty and I own the shop together.
okay. And they have Mother of Pearl. And I just found out from Susan that not only do they have this amazing shop that you're going to see, they dye their own yarn.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm an artist.
Okay.
Not a chemist. So
Okay.
I labeled it Mother of Pearl Blue Moon. And I tell people I do try to dye them in groups, but that doesn't always happen. And so if you're looking for something and you see colors you just love, buy it, because I may not recreate it.
Right.
It's whatever I'm feeling like doing in the moment,
Okay.
or whatever is needed on the shelves. So I have tonals, I have
Speckles.
I have.
Look at that purple.
This one?
Yeah, the real deep one.
Ah, yeah.
Look at how beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fun.
Yeah.
So I do try to, dye things to go together.
Yeah.
Then I dye things for projects, such as our little protest is patriotic scarf here.
Oh.
So that's a whole skein of red and a whole skein of the white, and then I have these little half skeins
Oh, how cute.
to make the little field background. So
this is your patriotic American scarf.
it's not my pattern, but it's on Ravelry, and it's super cute and really easy to make.
Nice.
Some of my customers actually replaced these little dots with pearls, which made it really pretty.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we have more of the half skeins.
And so you dye all these too.
I do.
Wow, that's great.
And then over in this direction, I have something I put together this year for spa. Have you guys ever come down to Spa Knit Spin in February?
No.
It's an unadvertised, unpromoted retreat where everyone just shows up in the same week and they do their thing. They meet up in groups, they spin, they knit, they crochet,
They spa.
they spa.
And you guys also, I heard, have this amazing thing called the Maine boat kind of.
Well, it's the Maine Yarn Cruise.
A yarn cruise,
And we
you guys.
call it a cruise because you're cruising around Maine in your car.
Oh, okay.
Us 70s girls, we were cruising.
Oh, okay. Okay, car cruising. I love
car
that.
cruising. There are many beautiful yarn cruises on the schooners off the coast, but this is really designed to entertain people on land.
My husband has a 1959 Cadillac convertible.
Aha.
That would be an awful lot of fun to cruise in.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? It's my age.
Yes, that's right.
59. So I also have, this is a skein and a half, where these are the only two I have left, I'm afraid. But I put them together, I called them Twisted Sisters, because I wanted it, I wanted something a little fuller that you could make a larger project with.
So maybe about 600 yards?
Yeah, a little over 600 yards. And then we have minis. We're very low on at the moment.
What's this?
Well, this is not mine, but it's it
could be.
Yes, it could be. We are looking at some new bases. I think that would be a lot of fun. People just love the mohair and the silk and wool combination. It's beautiful.
Popular in
that
our
lace
shop,
weight, yeah. This is Marquita and Halo from the Alpaca Yarn Company.
Do you have lots of local suppliers too?
We try, yeah. Jagger Brothers down in Springvale. And they are actually who I use as my base. So not only is this Maine dyed, it's Maine yarn.
Wow. So they have an actual mill, don't they?
They do, yeah, they do. We also carry Peace Fleece and Swan's Island. And One Lupin, which is Jody up in Bangor. It's great. It's just really, really beautiful yarn.
I like the little signs that you've got that say "Made in Maine."
Yeah, well, that's to help people kind of grasp.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, what do you say? You want to take us upstairs and show us your dye studio?
Yeah, yes. I'm laughing because it's a working mess, but
fantastic. We love that. We're going to feel right at home.
Yeah. So we have this lovely, enormous store, and we are very, very blessed. We have a whole second floor.
You guys are so lucky.
We are so lucky, and we know it, and it's magical.
Yeah, you have something else you wanted to show us,
Oh, no,
right?
that's just a sock blank, which we also...
Oh, yes, and you dye these too?
I do.
Well, that's special. Does this actually say spa on it?
It does. It says Spa 2019.
Oh, my God.
It's a double.
Do you sell these online?
No.
Okay. Somebody could phone you and buy them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. No, we haven't really gotten to that online place yet because we've been trying to master the whole
retail, bricks and mortar. Yeah, we hear you.
Best we can be.
Yeah, we've been doing it only because we're kind of remote. You know, where we are, we have a large geographic area, and they don't have yarn shops. So we've invested a little bit in being able to have them shop.
Well, we're now on Shopify with our classes, so it's the next step. It's a logical step.
Yep. Yep.
But really, the yarn we dye was designed to help people be more encouraged to come and visit us. People like to touch yarns.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
suppose once you've bought it.
Hey, that's a great place to put your
shifts.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. This is Ito, Noro Ito.
Yeah.
And
isn't it pretty?
Just a background. And
that's really nice. Ito feels not quite as thick as Curion. Must have more silk, maybe.
Well, it could be, or it could be because I knitted on a 9.
Yep.
And then I really blocked it hard.
Okay, gotcha.
To give it a good...
Yeah, stretch. That's lovely.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I'm going upstairs.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry Patty's not here today.
Do you want the store closed?
No, you can leave it open. Thank you.
Yeah, she said she had to visit family in Massachusetts.
She's been out of the country. I was down in Massachusetts yesterday visiting family as well. Please don't photograph the boxes. We're getting ready to ship stuff out to the different participants in the yarn cruise.
Wow.
So this is part of our classroom.
So you send out product to people?
Well, because we're the people who organized it, we've basically taken on the administrative role.
I see.
So we have all of the printing done. We contact all of our suppliers and ask them if they'd be willing to participate. And
so they provide yarn.
They provide all kinds of goodies. It's so nice.
Yes.
But you got to ask. And we send a lot of thank you notes too.
Yes, for sure.
There's some administrative area here.
Okay.
This is our shipping department.
And you do all your classes up here?
We do.
Nice.
Yes. So this is my dye studio.
Wow.
It's not
Look at this. Look at the burners.
Got my stove top. I have a dryer. I do a lot of work in the microwave.
Take us around. Take us around. So
we have a class next week, and I'm just getting
dyeing.
Yeah, it's a gradient. We'll do mini gradients.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So behind you, I haven't turned the light on, but that's my dye sink.
Yep.
And I try to make it very clear that everything to the left of the right of the refrigerator has to be food only.
Food only. Yeah.
So we're not allowed to eat or prepare food over in this area.
Right. Yeah, you want to keep those separate, don't you?
We do. Yeah, I just...
So you've got just a 4-burner stove, and that's what you're using?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I use the stove. Sometimes I do kettle dyeing. More often than not, I'll just pop it into the microwave on a takeout dish.
Right.
Just to get that dye set.
Yeah.
I have a nice little centrifuge, my little Nina.
Oh, to dry things out with?
Yeah, it's a little spinner.
Isn't that
Well,
cool?
it doesn't dry, but it will definitely take a lot of liquid out of the yarn so that we can then hang it up over here.
And dry it out, because that's going to take a little while, isn't it?
Here, yeah.
Wow, so that's your dry rack.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah. So, and then I sometimes put the fan on it because sometimes it's just not windy enough.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
Yes, yes. I'm also, I design a small line of patterns for the quilting industry. I haven't had as much time to do that lately, but I've got some great ideas coming. So I sew, and I felt, and I don't spin. That's one thing I do not do.
Yet.
No, I have no time, no desire, because, no. I like looking at it. I love watching people make it, and it's so beautiful. We have such talented spinners around here.
Do you dye the roving?
I do. Yes, I do.
Well, you're part of the process.
I am part of the process, but I don't do it as well as someone like Casey down at Port Fiber in Portland. She does a phenomenal job with that, so we might as well not,
Don't compete.
Right.
Yeah, do what you're good at.
Do what we're good at. That's right. So
nice.
This is basically the rest of the mess, which is...
Well, thank you so much for showing us, because this is your creative space, and it's real personal, right?
It is.
But thank you for letting us in and showing us.
I'm so happy to share it. I love to bring people in. So
Cynthia, it's been wild. Now we're going to go back downstairs and look at a little bit more yarn. Okay?
Okay. Hey, Barb.
Hey, how you doing? Good. So, Cynthia, we just finished that Ann Budd Knit for Fun retreat, and on the way back to Montreal, we Googled yarn shops, and we found this little yarn shop in Norway called Fiber and Vine.
Yeah.
And turns out,
who do we find here?
Kim. Hi, Kim. Hi. So nice to meet you. You too. Turns out that Kim owns this shop, and it's amazing. Like, she's got an incredible collection of yarn and wine, and she's also got several articles in Making Magazine, which just happens to be our favorite magazine.
Yeah.
Kim, tell us a little bit about you, how you started this shop, how you got to be in making and all that sort of thing.
It's so, the fiber community in Maine is so connected.
Yeah.
I actually went to high school with Carrie's husband,
No kidding.
who is the
Is he
designer
from,
here.
and you're kind of born and raised
I'm
here?
born and raised here. Yeah, I spent some time away in New York, but
Wow.
yeah.
And you and Carrie's husband went to high school together?
Yeah, we did. We
What a
did
small
community
world.
musicals together.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a talented musician. And
And now you're a yarn shop owner.
yeah.
You teach too, I understand. Tell us about the class you had last night.
Oh yeah, I had a weekend retreat of shibori and indigo dyeing. which is something I'm just recently getting into.
And you made this?
I did. I love Nuno felting and
beautiful.
I love I never stop learning fiber crafts. It's my favorite.
Isn't there something about, making things with your own hands that's so special?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I was sewing this morning some embroidery, and it's just amazing how simple stitches over and over. I just never get tired of them, whether it's knitting or embroidery or.
Tell us a little bit about what you do, because this is issue 1, and in issue 1 you had these, right?
Right, the little carrots and radishes.
The needle felting.
Needle felting is really quite popular in the store.
Yeah.
It's so quick and easy to learn how to do it, and it's like once you know, you can immediately turn your idea into a project. It's like much faster than knitting, which is really appealing to people who are like urgently seeking creativity in their life, and they don't want to learn the language of knitting for 2 years. So
and it's something that almost everybody can do,
yes,
right?
exactly. Kids, adults, everything.
Yeah.
But for making, I've been doing felting projects because Carrie reached out to me and she knew I did a lot of felting. Yeah.
And you've got in issue 2 or 3, you did those indigo dyed ones, right?
Yeah, it was the whole issue was the dots in blue kind of indigo color. So she had asked me to design the dryer balls, but they're like really fancy. So they're more of like a toy for kids or just decoration, really. And I love those colors together. It was great.
Yeah. And then in the latest issue, I think you did something there too, right?
The desert issue, I designed like a needle felted cactus, which is actually a class I do teacup felting. There's something around here. Oh yeah, like little.
Oh my gosh.
Scenes. This is not quite finished, but scenes in teacups. So it's kind of a play on something I already do, but I just love. So the cactus is wool, and then the flowers are silk, and you can actually use wool to attach the silk to the cactus, which is really cool for people to learn that you can needle felt not just with wool. You can actually use silk and make these vibrant flowers on it. It's
Where
really
does
pretty.
your creativity come from? Because those are so unique.
I don't know. That's a hard question to answer because.
Are you inspired by customers who come in here?
Yeah, it's fun. I am inspired by customers. It's awesome to live vicariously through their projects because you can't knit everything.
Right.
And it's great to design a project too because you design a shawl or a sweater and then people all across the world can knit it and you can see it thanks to Ravelry now. It's like amazing.
There are versions of it.
Oh, there's like 20 different hats and I didn't have to knit them and all these colors. It's so cool.
Yeah. So what do you feel most proud about of all the accomplishments that you've had so far?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I think staying open is a really big deal.
Yes. Right, as a storefront, you mean.
Persevering but the community that's happened out of the store through knitting groups, projects, and the wine tastings, it's like you can't set out to build a community. I think intentionally it just sort of happened.
Yes.
We just had a wine tasting last Friday and there were like 60 people here.
60 people?
Over the course of a couple hours, and I was just like, this is my town. This is happening. This didn't happen 6 years ago. This is something that's grown, and I'm pretty proud of the community support and
How big is Norway?
I think it's about, I should know the answer to this, about 5,000 people.
Wow.
It's not very big.
Yeah.
But it grows in the summer. We have a summer population that's also our family. Every summer we have new knitters in the group. It's great.
So what's on the future for you? Where are you going with this place?
I don't know. Right now I've been on like a surge of investing in my own artwork so that I can potentially travel and teach. I'd love to come visit you. But yeah, I think this is going really well, and I'd like to start traveling and learning, traveling and teaching, and I'd also like to get people making their own clothes here, because that's something that people, whenever I make something to wear, people are like, where'd you get that? I want to make that. And but in order to do that, we need to like teach people how to sew again.
Basic skills.
Basic skills, And I work a lot with kids too, so I'm like creating those like vibes, so when they're adults, they can start sewing and knitting.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's fun.
Well, congratulations to you. It's so wonderful to kind of happen across you and to meet you, and I definitely think our paths need to cross again.
Yeah.
We need to bring you to Edmonton.
I would love that. I actually have relatives that live there, so we could visit them. I haven't seen them in forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much.